Hello, I'm Laura from Burns Pet Nutrition. So we've already talked about why being overweight is such a big problem and what to do if your dog is overweight. And now we're going to look at some common problems. And I'm here today with Vet and our founder, John Burns.
Hello, how do you do? Well, this is the big issue. The technical term is compliance, following the instructions. As I mentioned in a previous discussion, the big eyes are looking at you and it's hard to resist that.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. But it does call for a certain discipline and it's worth it. It's really worth it.
Yeah, and some dogs will always just be looking for food, won't they? It's just in their nature, they're scavengers, so they'll never feel satisfied, some dogs.
Well, I have the same problem. I'm always looking for food, and that doesn't mean to say I need it, you know. So,
yeah.
And sometimes I go for a walk also rather than have a treat.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy situation to deal with.
No. But then our weight control diet is really good for those dogs, with it being high in fibre, isn't it?
It does call for a certain discipline, but it does work.
Yeah, and it's better for your dog's health in the long run if you can just not give in to those big brown eyes, and then maybe you'll feel better about your relationship with your dog because you're getting them to be healthier rather than just giving in to them.
It's a little bit of play, and for example, not associating having your own meals with the dog, thinking that they should be eating as well. Well, they may have to look again at the feeding amounts, the treats that they're giving. Yeah. If you get it right at the beginning, then it will work.
Yeah.
Dogs can't get fat and fresh here.
No. They quite often forget about the treats, don't they? The dental chews, they're really high in calories. Like family members giving the dog treats and sometimes they don't notice, or their neighbour or someone that minds the dog, so everyone's got to be on board with it. I
think a definition of a treat is that it's has to be tasty, and that usually means lots of fat and protein.
Yeah.
So one has to deal with that really.
But our treats are quite healthy, aren't they? A lot of our treats are low in fat. They're very similar to our food, so they're ideal as swapping in for a healthy treat.
Yes, indeed. I think the answer to that is yes. It's not a problem at all. If the food is properly formulated, our food for weight management, weight control, is palatable and it can be given to any dog really.
Yeah.
So it's always best to have the same food for other dogs in the family. From a management perspective, having to feed different foods isn't ideal really.
Yeah, and sometimes the greedy one will be trying to steal the other dog's food. It's not ideal if the other dog's on a high fat food and then that dog's trying to lose weight.
I would have thought that during lockdown people would be out more because they've got more time in their hands, you know, that they can't go out and about, same maybe working from home, for example.
Yeah, so some dogs might have lost weight.
There's good opportunities to increase exercise during lockdown.
Yeah.
Some areas that may be a bit more difficult, you know. Of course, we're in West Wales here. It's easy to, even during lockdown, it's easy to get out and about.
Yeah.
Back to something I said earlier, which is you feed according to need, and when those needs change, the amount of food that you give ought to change also.
Yeah, I found with my dog, being at home more, she is pestering me a bit more for food, whereas normally I'm in the office and she's not there. So I have actually put her on our weight control diet recently and she stopped pestering me so much because I don't think she is feeling as hungry now. It's just filling her up a bit more. So I think just being in the house and that your dog's there all the time, they start to just think, oh, I might be able to get a bit of food now.
Everything counts as extra, except vegetables.
Yeah.
Vegetables don't count as an extra, I feel.
Yeah, so they can have that on top of their daily allowance.
That can be unlimited virtually.
Yeah, and we quite often say the owner could mix it in with the food, bulk the meal out, or give them, if there's a certain time of day when they want to give them a treat, they could give them a bit of carrot or something at that time of day. You can give the vegetables in lots of different ways. They can be cooked or raw as well. That's something that a lot of people wonder.
Another possible treat might be something like a rice cake, which just puffed rice or plain puffed popcorn.
Yeah.
These are very low calorie foods, aren't they?
Yeah.
As long as they haven't been flavoured with something.
Yeah, and you're satisfying the owners need to give the dog a treat, and the dog's happy because they're getting a treat. So, yeah, it's just healthy alternatives, isn't it?
Yeah. Only marginally. The key to weight loss is controlling the food intake.
Yeah.
Exercise would have to be enormous in amount to replace getting the diet right. Well, I think it depends a lot on what they were feeding before, but generally speaking, one has to maintain low-fat, low-protein food.
Yeah.
It has to be the norm thereafter. You can't go back to giving lots of treats and high-fat foods.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up back where you were before.
Yeah.
And that happens so often, really.
Yeah, that is quite a big problem.
It's an easy trap to fall into. One has to be vigilant.
A lot of people do think that now they've lost the weight, they can go back and feed what they were feeding before, but we were feeding for that target weight, and that's what we've got to do moving forward now. That's a new amount that we need to feed that dog.
Thanks for looking at our series on weight management in dogs. I think it's a serious problem. It's getting worse. It's going to affect the health of your pet and shorten its life. But handled in the right way, it's something we can really get to grips with. Thank you.